Hi, welcome to my live stream show, Co-Design Work with Wonder. I'm June Baya, CEO of BayhaGroup, and I'm so happy to be here every week on Thursdays. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter. So at BayhaGroup, we co-design work with Wonder, which is with youth for youth. We have 11 paid high school and 2 college Work Wonder co-designer interns. They're instrumental in designing for around 200 new paid interns who are going to be working from home this summer. And we had 180 last summer. So one of the components of the Work Wonder Summer paid internship is the deep dive. A deep dive is a deep dive into a specific industry is led by an industry professional. And in the past, we've had filmmaking, documentary filmmaking, which is what we will be focusing on today. And this coming summer, we're going to be working with Harvard Medical School. They're going to be hosting a deep dive. And so today I wanted to share with you our new redesigned, updated Work Wonder mission statement that we recently worked with some folks from Franklin Covey, and they hosted a design session for us to work with our co-designers on our mission statement. So I'm going to read it to you. We co-design opportunities with youth that strengthen workplace intelligence, create a culture of possibility, and inspire them to be the hero in their journey. So right now I'm going to bring Barbarella Fokos, who's joining us from Salt and Sugar Production. She led a deep dive with us last summer. And hi, Barb. She's an award-winning filmmaker. Thanks for joining us. So nice to see you.
It's always nice to see you. You know that.
And so, I mean, we had the summer internship last year. You had how many interns work with you?
I had 20 interns, and people may already guess this because it was pandemic times, but this was all virtual. So 20 deep dive documentary filmmaking. I called them my Doclings, 20 interns.
And so we created a small video that we wanted to share with everyone, just a little bit about the experience. So I'm going to go ahead and play that for everyone so you can get a sense of what that experience was like for our interns in their own voice. So I'm going to go ahead and share that.
For this experience, 20 interns, including myself, were tasked to create a mini documentary on any subject we were passionate about. We were taught about all aspects of documentary filmmaking, from concept and pre-production to filming and editing, all in the span of 6 weeks. For many of us, this would be the first time we would be working on a project like this. Each documentary showcased the passions and personality of each individual. Some documentaries involved scriptwriting, while others involved interviews and research. 4 interns took on the extra work of interviewing people in Spanish and adding subtitles to their documentary. Though it required extra work and much collaboration, the end result was great.
Importante, hija, para mí, la familia.
Para mí también.
Muy importante, sí.
At the end of the documentary filmmaking experience, we showcased our mini documentary at a virtual film festival where administrators, family, and friends were all invited to join. Here, we showcased our short films and the variety of subjects we based our videos on, from personal narratives to mental health to music. All documentaries were applauded and given overwhelmingly positive feedback. Because of the documentary filmmaking experience I have
learned a lot of life skills.
That I can express myself.
I learned a lot through this program. I learned how to have a newfound respect for filmmakers everywhere, because you could see a final product and you could see 5 seconds of that product, but you won't know that it took them maybe like 30 days to just get that snippet. And it takes a lot of work and a lot of effort to put together a film.
That was great. And I see some nice comments happening. That was great. That video was actually created by one of the documentary interns, one of my Doclings who went through it, Kristy.
I know, and we're so fortunate because Kristy's here with us, and we're going to bring Kristy on to join us on the live stream and have her share some thoughts with us. Hi, Kristy.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you. So what was that like to see your video just now?
I think it's just very cool, I guess, to see it because I started off in the summer just having no kind of experience in editing or filmmaking whatsoever. So I think it's really cool to see my progress from the summer and here. So I just think it's really amazing that I was able to do that.
I know, we're so fortunate because you are one of our co-designer interns that I mentioned earlier. So what's that experience been like for you?
Very fulfilling. I think especially right now working with the incoming interns, I think I'm really excited to see them take on their own projects and get as confident as I was in my particular deep dive. So it's been really fulfilling.
I'm actually curious, was filmmaking one of your first choices? Like how did we do in the choices? Do you remember?
Yes, it actually was my top choice. So yeah, I got my first pick.
Nice.
Your top choice, and it was your top choice, but you hadn't done any before?
No, I mean, I think everything was so different since we were not really expecting a virtual internship, but I don't know, I felt like I was really drawn to it, and it was a lot different than what I expected, but fun in the end.
Having never done it before, what was it that you're like, I'm gonna try this?
I think it was just about me going out of my comfort zone and just trying something that I've never done before. And I think I've always kind of wanted to edit, I guess. I thought it would be more like Instagram. It would teach me how to like put something out on Instagram, and it was completely different, but a good different.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
Cassandra.
I know.
Oh.
So what was it? So you had no experience, and what would you say your comfort level is now? Because you actually made that video. In reflection, what would you say about what you gained?
I think, well, in the beginning, like I had said, I had no kind of experience editing filmmaking. But I think after that, I just had gained a different kind of confidence. So now I feel very confident. I actually talked to June about wanting to take on more projects in editing. So I think that shows kind of everyone that I'm very confident in what I'm doing now. So yeah, I still feel like I have a lot to learn, but I'm there and I'm ready to put in that effort.
Awesome. Well, I have some work for you then. we have some questions too. I don't know what other questions you have, Jim, but there's some questions popping up.
Oh, great. Yeah, go for it. What questions are there?
Let's see. This is a question kind of, here, I'll pop one up. Did you find yourself surprised and or inspired by the work produced by your deep dive group? So this is a question for me, it looks like. Yes, I did. I was actually shocked, really. I mean, I was expecting kind of some just entry level, maybe learning something very small, but all of the interns, they chose their own topic. I said, choose a subject that matters to you. Could be anything. Some chose family, some chose historical building in the neighborhood, some chose personal issues or interviewing family members. And they interviewed, they scripted, they filmed it, they edited it, all by themselves, really, and did many, many edits, cuts, and picked it up so fast and so quick. I think I expected them to be a lot more than they were, but we did a virtual film festival showcase, and Kristy's, yours was beautifully written. We got Sophia working behind us here. She was also one of my Doclings, and Cassandra there. And I was inspired by how thoughtful the subject matter was, how personal and open and pensive really everybody just explored their subject and were really open about it. But then just the skills, I mean, the angles, the things you all thought to capture and how you put it together. So yeah, it was really just blown away.
Yeah, I think we had a great teacher, so.
Yeah. It was
one.
So
Yeah.
what did a day in documentary filmmaking look like? What did a day for you? I know what it looked like for me, which was shorter than your days because we would meet 3 times a week, just kind of going over things. But what did a day look like for you, Kristy?
So we would meet, I would say for a couple of hours, almost like 3 days out of the week. And we would just, I think every week actually looked different. So the first week it was just kind of like figuring out what we wanted to film, what we wanted, like what our project was going to be about. And then the next week it was more like, okay, now write out what you want to say and then film and then edit. So I think every week looked different. And after those meetings, we were just basically told like, okay, like you do it on your own, like you put in the time that you feel is necessary for your project. So that's kind of how my day looked. It was like that quick little meeting, that little one-on-one with Barb or in the group with Barb. And then we would go off on work on our project at any given time. So yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah. That's so did you want to prop up other questions, June, or do you want me to? Changes. Okay. So good question, Cassandra. So yeah, there are, after being through, this was the first one we did, the first time I ever did this, especially remotely. But are there any changes that I would make? So I am running this again this summer. And the one change I'd make, you saw in the video that Kristy did, how some students went out of their way to translate, to do subtitles, but they really worked with each other. There was a lot of collaboration that happened towards the tail end of the deep dive. So the thing that I would change this summer is creating opportunities for collaboration to happen earlier, because everybody, once you all started working with each other, it just got a lot warmer and there were more ideas flying back and forth, and it just felt so much better. So the only thing I would change at this point is just making that happen sooner. Yeah. What do you think, Kristy? Did you collaborate with, I mean, I know you and I chatted a lot with your script and everything, which was awesome. Like, did you work with your fellow interns?
I think I worked more like on like an email kind of basis with some people. They would ask me like, I think I was a little bit more ahead on my script and everything. So I think they would ask me more questions about my script and they wanted to see an example, and I would just go back and forth with them and send them like kind of edits, I guess, of their scripts if they needed it. So that's kind of how I collaborated. It wasn't necessarily like during meetings, but I know that some of the interns did, I think, have like one-on-ones with each other, and they were teaching each other how to do subtitles and everything. But that was my experience. Like, it was just more on an email basis, but it was still considered collaboration, I would say.
Yeah, and that's great. And so, yeah, we had the 4 who were doing the translations, kind of helping each other out, which was great. So just more for that. I don't know if we had this one. Did you ever find conflicts when making is for a film? This is a question, I'm guessing, for me. I don't know if this is a question for me. Like, well, was it hard to come up with an idea? I mean, I'll ask you, because I always, the ideas for making something, it's usually, that's what drives the making of it, right? I have an idea first, and then I want to make it. So it's not a conflict in that way, but you were actually tasked with it, Kristy. Like, come into work, this is your job, come up with an idea. How was that?
I actually had no idea what I wanted to create at all. I think in the beginning, I was trying to force this like idea of like, I wanted to be a doctor. So I was like, I need to create something that like will look good and like it'll be about like being a doctor. And then I think as you pushed us to you were like, okay, well, why? And I was just like, I don't really know. And so I kind of also just discovered that like I didn't want to be a doctor. So in that sense, when I discovered what my real passion is, my documentary was about the importance of child psychology and spreading awareness. So I guess in that regard, it was kind of difficult because I was trying to force an idea and it wasn't really like coming from me. But in the end, I guess it was like a good thing because I discovered a lot more about myself.
That's awesome. That's profound. It is so true. That's why it was so important. It's what matters to you. So the idea is, Karina, too, to bring it back to the question again, is just it's what matters. What do you want the world to know? What do you want to share? How do you want to connect with people? And you did that brilliantly, Kristy, by just talking a very personal story. So, do we have other questions? How did you prepare interns for your deep dive? So great question, Emma. Really, that first week is all about preparation. It's a lot of resources. And really, they prepared themselves in a lot of ways. I just provided resources. I just said, here's a place to go and what to look for. And they taught themselves the editing software. This wasn't a how-to, this was like very inspiration driven. And why do we do this? And so from the software to, this is where you can get footage. This is what copywriting looks like. This is how you can, approach it, and then just provided a bit of a framework, and then just pulled it out of them. So I think, as Kristy's saying, the best way, I just kept asking why, to really drill down to find out what really matters to you. And the ones that ended up the showcase, and June, I kind of want to know your opinion too, because I think that was evident in the final pieces, how it really felt like it mattered. But from your perspective, since we were in it, like from just seeing it from the outside.
Oh my gosh, I go to lots of film festivals, and it was really amazing that we did the documentary film showcase. Really felt like a film festival where everybody came with their 20 different documentary films. Very short. They ranged from how many minutes?
Like 2 to 4, really.
Yeah, right. And they were such personal, diverse stories. So, I was in tears many times because they were so poignant and so personal. Everything from bipolar to a parent having bipolar, right, to family members who had been in different, just wounded from, and then just really uplifting stories. And so it was really amazing just what was done, because it was a month. So a deep dive is 1 month. This was during when the pandemic, we were in lockdown starting in March. This internship was in June. It was from June to July, essentially middle of June to the end of July. And I would love for you to talk about what kind of equipment, what did you film using? I feel like that sort of missed.
Yeah, we were all basically just filming on our phones. That was really all we could do, but the quality, I think, really came from like within. So I think that shows a lot. But yeah, everything was filmed on our phones, and
amazing what you could do with a phone. And that was the thing. So to really make it so that everybody could do it, it was what tool do you have? Because it's not always about the tool, right? It's about what you do with it. So as long as I had something that could film with, and some of them used editing software that's just free editing software you can download online, or free apps. So they really did what they did with, like, these aren't big studio things. We have another question here that I think is interesting. If you could describe the impact of documentary filmmaking in one word, what would it be? Oh, that's hard. The impact of documentary filmmaking in one word. I have a word, but I want you to come up with one first, Kristy. I one popped into my head, but what do you think?
That's kind of hard, because I feel like I need like a phrase. Or maybe like just inspiring, motivational, I would say. Yeah.
I love that. I have two too. So the first one that popped in my head was connection. And the second one was awareness, because usually you're sharing something, but like that also connects you to other people by sharing, especially when you're as open as you all were. But oh my gosh, I don't know. June, do you have a word? What is that? I don't even know.
I always walk away from documentary filming feeling that I've learned something, that I come away with new information in ways that I didn't know. And I feel like that's the power of storytelling, and documentary filmmaking is such an amazing way to tell really personal stories. So I always walk away feeling smarter. So it's amazing. So I was fumbling a little earlier because I really wanted to showcase what the documentary film showcase, that link. So we'll put it on the various channels, but for sure, for those of you watching, please do check out the documentary showcase, because from last summer, it showcases all of the work that was put into this deep dive, the leap of faith for all of the interns who took this project on, the heart and just passion they put into these projects. And so it's really awesome. We're excited for what's going to come this summer. So stay tuned. We're going to talk to more folks that are hosting deep dives. And we love that Kristy was able to join us today. So thank you, Kristy. Thanks, Barb. And next week is again something I love, that there's intern takeover. So they are getting ready to share with everyone next week. So it's all intern led. They are supporting each other in the intern takeover, because I'm actually out of town. And so they are doing it all. And so please join the live stream next week, next Thursday at 3 p.m. Co-design Work with Wonder. And I wanted to thank my guests, Barb and Kristy. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we'll see you all next week. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.